Hey everyone, I am Captain Jessica Olson. I am in charge of recruiting for Air Force ROTC at Detachment 860, which is at Utah State University, which is my alma mater. I did ROTC at Utah State and I loved it, so I'm back as an instructor. And I'm here on my maternity leave, actually. I've got my baby here in my arms. He's sleeping. Hopefully he stays asleep. I'm recording on my maternity leave because I want to share this information with you. I think it will answer a lot of your questions before I'm back in the office to answer them myself. I will be back in the office in August, but until then, we'll have this video up on the website so it can answer some of your questions. Okay, ROTC. Basically, we're training officers. For people that join the military right out of high school, they are enlisting in the military. They are trained on a very specific job, and they do their jobs very well. And as they progress through their careers, they will get more leadership experience. Officers, on the other hand, begin day one as a leader. And one of the requirements is to have a bachelor's degree. So ROTC is set up to train leaders while they're in college so that the day they graduate, in our case from Utah State, when they graduate from Utah State is the day they are commissioned by the President of the United States to be an officer in the United States Air Force and lead the enlisted troops. Just touch super quick on my experience. I'm an intelligence officer. When I was active duty, right after I graduated from Utah State, I went and worked with intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft. A lot of those were these unmanned aerial vehicles. The media likes to call them drones. I don't like that because drone implies that it's like self-flying. It's not. There's a pilot that's flying it. It's just not, pilot's just not sitting in the aircraft. So I worked with these aircraft. You can see my team, some of my team on the right there, some of my imagery analysts that I had the opportunity to work with when I was active duty. Then after 4 years, I wanted to come back to Utah. I joined the Utah Air National Guard and worked with refueling aircraft. I deployed to Guam, much better, in my mind, much better deployment experience than going to Iraq or Afghanistan. I love the Utah Air National Guard. So if you have questions about the Guard, I can talk about those too. But for this video, we're focusing on ROTC, which is a pipeline to active duty. If you're interested in joining the Guard or the Reserves, you can still do ROTC. Talk to me offline, and I can answer your questions. But ROTC, when you're in ROTC, you're still a normal college student. You don't have to wear your uniform every day. You don't have to live in a specific dorm. You're not ordered around and doing all these crazy things like you would have to do if you're joining, if you're going to a military academy. You're a normal college student. If class is not in session, you have no responsibility to us. So you have your weekends, you have your holidays, you have your summers, except for one summer. Between your second and third year, you're going to go to a mandatory summer camp called field training that we'll talk about more in just a second. There are other summer programs that you can get involved in if you would like, but there's only one that's required. A cool thing about ROTC is that it's kind of a self-licking ice cream, if you will, that cadets serve in leadership positions while they're in the Corps. So upperclassmen are teaching the lowerclassmen. That serves two purposes. The lowerclassmen get trained, number one. Number two, the upperclassmen get that leadership experience because that's what we're doing. We're training leaders, right? So we're giving you leadership experience. We're giving you feedback on your leadership style. We're helping you develop your own leadership style, a better leadership style, while you're in college and while we're teaching you how to be a leader before you're responsible for people's lives and careers, right? So ROTC, get some training before your active duty. Here is the general layout for ROTC. I'm going to talk about it as if it's a 4-year program because that's how most of our cadets do the program. If you only have 3 years left of school, that's cool. We can work with you. Talk to me offline. I'll tell you how it's different. If you need to extend an extra year and it takes you 5 years, that's fine. We can work with you. But I'm going to talk about it like it's a 4-year program. So first year, classes that you're going to take. There are 3 listed there on the left side. The AS100 class, it's a 1-credit class. It's a class that I teach. It's Introduction to the Air Force. We meet once a week for an hour. Then just to keep talking about this academic class, so you'll have that one academic class freshman year each semester. And then sophomore year, each semester, you'll have another academic class. Your junior year, each semester, academic class. You can see, however, under your junior year, that AS 300 class, that it's worth 3 credits, whereas previously it was only 1 credit. So you're getting more responsibility as you're going through, you're learning more. And then your senior year. So we have an academic class each semester, all 4 years that you're in ROTC. The second class listed here, L-Lab, Leadership Laboratory is what that stands for. It's a 1 credit class. That's where the whole core meets together on Thursdays. And that's where you're going to learn traditional military themes. So that's where you're going to learn how to march. That's where we're going to go up the canyon and learn small team tactics with paintball guns. So we're going to do winter survival and water survival and other leadership activities around campus. So you'll take, as you can see, Leadership Laboratory every semester for the whole time that you're in ROTC. And the last class is physical training, PT. We do that in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 o'clock. I know that might seem a little scary to some of you to think of coming to class at 6 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes it's hard to get there, but once you're there, everybody's there together and you'll get a really good workout. You're going to change a lot physically and mentally and probably emotionally while you're in ROTC, and PT is a big part of that. It's worth 2 credits. We can talk about how it's optional. I'll just explain it real quick, I guess. So you have to show up for PT if you're in lead lab. It's part of your lead lab grade. However, you do not have to register for the PT class if you don't want to. The only reason I would tell you not to register for PT as a class is if registering for those 2 PT credits would put you over 18 credits in a semester, because USC is going to charge you if you take more than 18 credits, right? So no reason to take it for credit if it's going to charge you more money. But if you have to be there anyway, why not take it as a class and keep your GPA high? Keeping your GPA high is important if you want to be competitive to be a pilot. Okay, so you can see each year you've got classes. That big red box at the bottom between your sophomore and junior year is Air Force field training. Field training, it's a leadership evaluation. So calling it training, field training, is kind of a misnomer. It's an evaluation. You're being evaluated in all of the leadership objectives, lessons that you've learned in the first 2 years that you've been in ROTC. It's generally 2 to 3 weeks long. It changes a little bit every year, but it is always at Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama. The Air Force, we will pay for you to travel. You will be provided with uniforms. You will have nothing out of pocket to pay for ROTC or for field training. We'll send you there. The first half of field training, you are living in dorms. You are marching around. It's kind of more academic focused. It's kind of simulating what life would be like when you're in the Air Force active duty, when you're at home. Then the second half of field training, we're simulating a deployment. So you're living in a tent, you're issued a paintball gun, and you're given different missions. So we can evaluate your leadership qualities that you've developed so far, as well as your leadership potential for future, in both situations, both kind of a home-based situation and a deployed situation. Everybody that goes to ROTC has to go to field training. And if that's scary to you, don't worry, we'll teach you everything. That's kind of the lesson here. We'll teach you everything you need to know. I'm going to go back to this slide because you can do the first 2 years with no commitment to the military. So if at any time that first or second year you decide this is not for me, I don't want to do this, we'll say, cool, thanks for your time. Good luck with everything you do. Have an awesome life and come back if you want to. Once you complete field training, that's when you're going to be committed to the Air Force. So you have up until then, at the summer after your second year, to decide if you really want to continue and become an officer in the Air Force. Requirements to join ROTC. You need to be a U.S. citizen, be at least 14 years old. Your GPA, if you're not on scholarship, you need to maintain at least a 2.0. If you are on scholarship, you need to maintain a 3.0. We can talk more about scholarships in a little bit. You need to be medically qualified. So we will send you to doctors at our expense here in Logan to decide if you are medically qualified. If you have anything that you're wondering about, come talk to us. That first semester you join ROTC, you will go to a couple doctor's appointments. They'll review your medical history and give you a physical, and you'll know that first semester if you're medically qualified. No adverse involvement with civil authority, with some exceptions. If you did something stupid when you were a teenager, that doesn't necessarily rule you out from joining ROTC. It's taken on a case-by-case basis. You'll talk to the commander, just be open and upfront about anything that's on your record, and we'll let you know. Biggest thing is just be honest. Be honest with what's on your record, because we're going to find it either way before you go active duty. So just be honest from the get-go. Will make everyone's life better. Good character adjusts to military environment. Some people just shouldn't be in the military. They don't take orders well. They don't give orders well. And that's fine. Not everybody should be in the military. But we'll train you. If you're worried, don't be worried. And you need to pass a fitness assessment by the second year. I'm not going to spend tons of time on this. Don't worry too much about these numbers. Just know that the fitness assessment consists of a 1.5 mile run, 1 minute of push-ups, 1 minute of sit-ups. There is a BMI requirement or a body fat percentage requirement. Don't worry about it. We'll help you. We'll train you. That's what PT is for. We will help you. You don't need to pass this until your second year. So if you're not working out right now, start working out. Life's going to go a lot better if you're not struggling as much. So run, do push-ups, do sit-ups. Scholarships. I know a lot of you are interested in this. Types of ROTC scholarships. There are 3 types. Basically, if you are a resident of Utah, coming to Utah State, you don't even need to worry about these different types of scholarships, because all of them will cover full tuition and fees for you. If you are out of state, that's still cool. If you can get a type 1, then the amount unlimited, then all of your school will be paid for. Tuition fees completely paid for. It's super competitive. So to get that type 1, you need to have super good grades. You need to get a really good score on the ACT or the SAT. You need to show that you already have some leadership potential. Type 2, $18,000 a year. To go to Utah State, out of state tuition, it's about $20,000 a year. So you'll be paying some stuff out of pocket if you get type 2 scholarship. But there are other options. So if you're interested in a scholarship, apply for it, and then come talk to me and we can talk more details. And then the type 7, full in-state, you can see that's the majority of people, what they get. It takes a year to get residency for Utah State, I believe. So those 3 types, 1, 2, 7, covers tuition and fees. In addition to paying for tuition and fees, you will be given $600 a year for textbooks, and you'll also get a monthly stipend, depending on what academic year you are. So that's the 3 parts of the scholarship: tuition and fees, money for textbooks, and a monthly stipend, which is just money you can spend on whatever you want, housing, groceries, whatever you need. Those are the ROTC scholarships. How do you apply? How do you get one of these scholarships? Application windows from 6 July to 1 December this year. So if you are currently, or I guess when school starts in the fall, a senior in high school, you need to get on this right now. You can start this today. Go to AFROTC.com, click on scholarships, and you'll get started. Everything needs to be completed by the 1st of December to start school next August. Minimum requirements: GPA 3.0. If you've taken the ACT, 26, or if you took SAT, 1240. You need to be at least 17 years old by the time you graduate from college, and you need to be new to college. If you've already been a full-time college student, there's another different scholarship for you to apply for. But if you are new to college, you haven't taken college classes full-time, apply for this. This is an incredible scholarship, and it's a good way to start your career. You won't have any school debt. Air Force benefits. So after you graduate and you are active duty Air Force, this is some information about that. You'll have a great salary, $37,000 to start. You'll be up to $66,000 after 4 years. That may not sound like a ton, but know that in addition to your salary, you also get paid for your housing. Your housing allowance is based on what your rank is, whether or not you have dependents. So if you're married or have kids or have other people depending on financially on you, and where you live. So for example, my brother-in-law, who's a lieutenant colonel in New York, makes a lot more money, has a much bigger housing allowance than me as a captain here in Logan, because Logan's not a very expensive place to live. So when you look at the salary number, know that in addition to your salary, you're also getting a housing allowance. You get free medical coverage, so you don't have to budget for health insurance because you and your family are automatically covered by TRICARE. You get 30 days of paid vacation every year. You can travel on space available aircraft. So for example, when I was in the National Guard, my guys would fly to Hawaii just about every week, at least every month. They were there all the time. So if there's room on the aircraft, space available, then I could fly at no cost to Hawaii with them. It's not luxurious, but it's free or low cost depending on the situation. But that's a really cool perk of being in the world's greatest Air Force, is you can travel with the world's greatest Air Force jets. Very low cost term life insurance. I covered $400,000. I think I paid $29 a month for this, for being covered for $400,000, which is awesome. Retirement benefits. You no longer have to serve in the military for 20 years to get your pension. Now it's all structured like a 401k. You contribute some to it. The Air Force can match some of that. And then if you decide to leave the military before 20 years, you'll have a 401k-like thing to take with you. Or if you stay the full 20 years, it's equivalent if you contribute the maximum amount. And then, of course, assignments all over the world. That was one of the reasons I joined the military. I wanted to get out of Cache Valley, where I'd lived my whole life. Obviously, I'm thrilled to be back because I love Cache Valley. But I wanted to get out and try something new and live somewhere different. And that's one of the cool things about the Air Force. So I don't think I made my goal of 10 minutes, but that's the basics. It's the basics of ROTC. So I hope you have more questions. If you have more questions, let me know. Email me. My email address is there. Look us up on Facebook and Instagram. You can give me a call. Looks like I didn't put my phone number on this slide, but the phone number is all over the website. Give us a call. Shoot me an email. Show up to my office. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Look at our webpage. Actually, that's where you're watching this. So, of course, you've seen our webpage, aerospace.usu.edu. But yeah, I'd love to answer your questions. I'd love to talk to you more about how ROTC can help you, how your specific situation would fit with ROTC. That's the basics. Come talk to me. We'd love to have you. See you then.